let's get into it. Sold Not For Sale podcast. Just woke up, haven't washed my face, haven't gone to the gym yet. My coffee's still next to me. This is not how I usually do videos, but Anthony Fauci and a bunch of other people have been pardoned in the hours of the night. This was a very shady move. I made a video about this. I was like, I don't know if this is gonna happen, within a few days that we had left, and it's happened just hours as Trump is getting ready for the whole inauguration. Biden pardons Anthony Fauci, the January 6th select committee, and also General Milley, I believe. And there's some people in the committee. I don't know if this actually touches on Liz Cheney as well, but he's basically pardoned everybody. I'm going to show you some Rogan clips because we're going to focus in on Fauci, the man who did nothing wrong. Some Rogan clips on Fauci, and then we're going to jump over to Fox News. They're going to break it down, and then we're going to jump over to CNN because I always like for you guys to see both sides of the nonsense. What CNN has to say about this whole thing is just hilarious in my opinion. And then I'm going to show you a reaction from everybody on X. Let's jump right into it.
This is what we were talking about before, that there is good and evil.
Yeah.
And sometimes it manifests itself in a very clear and obvious way. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what that was. That was evil. That was putting people's lives second and putting money first.
Well, I don't know why Fauci's still walking around.
How is that guy still walking around?
I don't get it.
If just people understand the history of the AIDS crisis and what that guy did back then.
Did you read that book?
Yeah.
Yeah, I read the book. I listened to it.
Yeah, I did too.
I drove up to San Francisco and I listened to it and I had road rage.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like, whoa, how is he still there?
First of all, people that don't believe it, how come RFK Jr. didn't get sued?
Yeah.
How come there's no lawsuits?
Mm-hmm.
If there was lies, there would be lawsuits.
No, but that's right.
He would be publicly humiliated. Instead, they kept that book off bestseller lists. That book sold millions of copies.
I know.
They hid it. That's when you find out that bestseller lists are actually curated. It's not really bestseller.
Yeah. It's censored. It's all censored.
Yeah.
Everything's censored,
But that book is an accurate depiction of what Anthony Fauci did during the AIDS crisis, which probably was an AZT crisis.
Yeah,
and more than it was an AIDS crisis.
I mean, it's fairly incontrovertible now that he was fooling with gain of function.
100%.
And why is he still around?
Right.
Or at least free.
Right. And no repercussions.
Yeah, whatever happened to that story where, the wombat and the weasel got together and they were horsing around and a bat pissed on him with a golden shower.
Yeah.
With, it's like, and all of a sudden it was in a wet market.
Yeah.
Very wet market. You got,
complete total horse. And
totally.
The scientists that we're supposed to trust were pitching that horse.
It was like the AIDS thing. Some green monkey bit a Qantas steward on the ass. Then he went around the world and got everybody sick, and it was like, ridiculous.
If you want to go to the AIDS rabbit hole, look up a guy named Peter Duesberg.
Oh, yes, I know.
Yeah.
I read that book.
Yeah.
So that was Joe and Mel Gibson most recently talking about Anthony Fauci, just not understanding why he is still walking around and whatnot. And here's another one.
Yeah, that creep. Read that book, The Real Anthony Fauci by RFK Jr. It's a crazy book.
Yeah, I have Seth, my buddy Seth was reading that book when we were out moose hunting, but I haven't read it.
That book will change your opinion on a lot of shit.
Yeah.
That's a crazy book. And if it's not true, he would be sued. They would have sued at him.
You get a cease and desist.
Yeah. Well, it's all documented. It's all backed up by like rock solid information. It's all like very well documented. What actually happened during the AIDS crisis, what actually happened during the COVID crisis. It's all legitimate. It's all easy to research. It's just scary that these people that you don't want to have to think about that stuff all the time. You want to just live your life and trust in these. Oh, this is the medical institution. They're here to help us. They're here to make us feel better.
Yeah.
But no, a lot of them are just there to make money.
But I held that sentiment.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Till 4 years ago.
A lot changed, dude.
I'm super skeptical.
Super skeptical. We're gonna get into this whole thing, but those of you that were, good on you, because this mask off moment that Biden has just showed is it's chilling, but it's also very validating, because this is like the confirmation that a lot of us have felt and that Joe Rogan's expressing throughout these clips.
I wear 2 masks now. I feel more protected.
Yeah, wrap yourself in plastic and just stay underwater.
It's amazing how that guy can gaslight. It's amazing. He does it, and his hands fidget in the
You
most
can tell with
obvious-
his body language.
Oh, he's
I love watching him in Congress when they're interrogating him. It's all political theater, Ron. It's all misinformation and disinformation.
yeah. He's well prepared to gaslight.
But how can people still watch him and go, yeah, we did the right thing?
Even in that audio that you were talking about, when he said, "When you make people's lives difficult, they will drop their ideological bullshit and get vaccinated."
Worked.
He said when they were quizzing him on this, when they were asking him about this and confronting him with this, he said, "That's not what I meant."
Legally, you were going to have schools, universities, and colleges are going to say, "You want to come to this college, buddy? You're going to get vaccinated. Lady, you're going to get vaccinated." Yeah. Big corporations like Amazon and Facebook and all of those others are going to say, "You want to work for us, you get vaccinated." And it's been proven that when you make it difficult for people in their lives, they lose their ideological bullshit and they get vaccinated.
Thank you.
No, they're not, and that's not what I was referring to.
Well,
yeah, he's sick. He's a sick mad scientist.
What could you possibly have meant other than what you said? If you're that guy, this is not like a thought experiment. You're hanging out with buddies, and you're like, imagine if you were a guy, and you're like, you would tell people. No, that's not what that was. That was you, the head of the NIH. You, the head of our America's coronavirus task force. You're the big guy. You're the one America looks to for the answers, and you're saying that.
Man. I got a couple more for you, and then we're going to jump over to Fox.
No, the whole Fauci thing, any criticism of Fauci, it's like anti-science.
Fauci's a freaking demon, if you ask me.
If you read RFK's book, if the real Anthony Fauci, if that's correct, if the facts are in there, that's true, it's all referenced, you could find the sources, and on top of it, he's never been sued for that book, which doesn't make any sense. If he just made a bunch of lies up, he would get sued.
Yes.
So the guy's a monster.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
I think, just looking at the lies that he told, the way he tried to define gain-of-function research to Rand Paul.
But I think maybe a lot of people out there don't realize Fauci funded the bioweapons research that was going on in Wuhan, and he bank shot it off. Like, he can't send the money directly to China, so he just bank shot it off EcoHealth.
Right.
This like fake nonprofit in the U.S. and they sent it to Wuhan.
The whole Fauci thing, any criticism of Fauci, it's like
anti-science.
I can't wait to see Elon Musk's. Has Elon Musk even commented on this? This is something I actually have to look into quickly, because Elon has been really going hard about Fauci for the longest time. I would love to see if he actually commented on this. I don't think he's had time. A lot of people are wrapped up with the inauguration. Yeah, Elon hasn't even had time to comment on it. I can't wait to see what he has to say about this whole thing, because he's talked about his pronouns being, prosecute Fauci for a long time. Here's the last one, then we're going to jump into some information.
I wonder what impact RFK Jr. is going to have on the delivery of healthcare now.
Well, he's going to have so much of an impact that they're talking about preemptively pardoning Fauci. How do you pardon someone that didn't do a crime?
Preemptively. That's funny.
How are you pardoning someone where he's not only is he not convicted of a crime, he's not even tried, he's not accused, he's not indicted? What do you...
I guess that's called blanket immunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's never been done before. There's never been preemptive pardons for people.
Yeah, that's an interesting
that
idea.
may have been committing crimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird.
Yeah. I wonder what impact...
Well, here's how you do it, Joe.
just issues new pardons for Dr. Anthony Fauci. You could call these preemptive pardons. Dr. Anthony Fauci, retired four-star General Mark Milley. This just happened moments ago. It also includes the members of Congress and staff who served on the Select Committee and the U.S. Capitol, and D.C. Metropolitan police officers who testified before the Select Committee. This as Trump prepares to take the oath of office in just a few hours.
Would that include Liz Cheney?
So
What
it's
a mess.
No, it doesn't. I guess,
Committee?
Yeah, Select Committee.
The whole select.
But what does it say? Mark Milley, who is chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff under both Biden and Trump, you know that 100%. What he's done in the past. You know that he was calling China, trying to putting down President Trump.
I mean, what are they afraid that Pete Hegseth is going to see when he goes to the Defense Department and look at the files and data? There's been no talk of going after Anthony Fauci.
Well, Rand Paul is.
There may have been some senators, but the president himself has not said he wants to prosecute
here's
Anthony Fauci.
Absolutely right. And here's the thing. You pardon somebody who's been convicted.
Right.
They haven't been
There's
convicted.
a confession.
They haven't been charged. Right. This is crazy. It will be interesting to read the exact language, and because it just broke, we haven't seen it yet. But remember, when Hunter Biden was pardoned by his father, the language was extraordinary because it essentially. We know some things happened during certain time periods, but this was a 10-year window. Anything he did during those 10 years was essentially it was a get out of jail free card. So it'll be interesting to see the language, the parameters of what time we're talking about, and what it talks about. What he has pardoned them from.
His brother wasn't on that list.
Incredible.
He has 4.5 hours to pardon his brother.
Not yet.
I know that's going to get done.
Yeah.
Absolutely. By the way, the 51 intel agents who said that laptop was fake, I believe one of the executive orders is going to rescind
to take
their security clearance.
Security clearance away. But it's just so interesting to me that this is occurring right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what
has
it
ever happened?
4 hours away
but how
from
is
the presidency, and
Lawrence,
you see Maria
has it ever
landing right behind us.
Security.
Has it ever happened before that a preemptive pardon was pushed? A preemptive pardon. Just in case I do something or you find something, you can't do that.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here.
Man, so that's what's going on there. Let's jump over to CNN and what they have to say about what's going on with Biden. Clearly, they're going to paint a different story. And I have to give it to Fox. Fox is just bringing you the information. They know how crazy it all sounds. It does sound very nutty. How do you do this? How do you expect everybody to think that none of these people have done anything wrong when you're giving them a pardon in case someone looks into their wrongdoing and finds something, they can't be tried? It's mind-boggling. But of course, CNN has no problem. They've already stretched. They're ready for the mental gymnastics. Here we go.
MJ, tell us what's going on, what President Biden is doing on his way out the door.
Breaking news from the White House, a statement from President Joe Biden issuing preemptive pardons for a number of individuals that he said he is fearful will be persecuted, politically persecuted. I just want to tick through for you the list of people that the president says he is pardoning preemptively today. They include General Mark Milley, Dr. Anthony Fauci. We also have members and staff of the committee that investigated the January 6th insurrection. He also said that that group would include the U.S. Capitol and D.C. Metropolitan Police officers who testified before this committee. Jake, this is was a possibility that we had anticipated and that we reported was something that President Biden was considering. And in all of our reporting, we anticipated that if he were to take this action, it was very possible that it would happen at the very last minute. And here we are, just hours before President Biden is set to leave the White House. The president is announcing this very controversial decision. In this lengthy statement that he just released, he says, I believe in the rule of law, and I am optimistic that the strength of our legal institutions will ultimately prevail over politics. But he says these are exceptional circumstances, and I cannot in good conscience do nothing. Now, when he is talking about exceptional circumstances, of course, he is referring to the incoming president, Donald Trump, who has made very clear in all of his public statements that he is focused on taking revenge on people, on individuals who he sees as having done him wrong. These specific people, and particularly if you think about the members who served on the January 6th committee, the staffers who served to work on that committee, these are people that the president obviously was worried would face a lot of legal troubles. Knew that there was just a lot of hardships coming their way, and this is why he is taking this action, to make sure that he can save them from all of that, even though he makes clear he does not believe that they did anything wrong, Jake.
That's amazing. Saving them from legal trouble. Well, that sounds familiar. Why would you need to save them from legal trouble? Is it possible that an administration would just find some kind of thing to prosecute somebody with and just drag them through the legal process just to make them look horrible and spend millions of dollars in defending themselves? Has that ever happened? I don't know that's ever happened. I don't know. I'm kind of foggy on that whole thing. Very interesting. He's literally saying, you know what? Just in case Trump does just in case Trump does what we did to him, I just want to give you guys a pardon really quick. Bro, Biden's going to pardon himself in a second. I think that's happening like right as Trump goes like this, he's going to pardon himself. I think 100% that's going to happen. How does it not happen? It's so wild. Okay, I'm going to play another little bit of this whole thing here. Yeah, it's CNN, so you don't want to play too much of it, you know. Here's Jake Tapper, basically not even realizing how ridiculous he sounds, I guess. Fake Tapper.
But for more on this, and Jamie Gangel.
Of course, slow it down. My bad, guys. As always.
A lot of the members of the January 6th committee said that they didn't want preemptive pardons. They hadn't committed any crimes. They didn't think it was necessary. But there is always just the question of even a prosecution that isn't going anywhere is still going to cost potential defendants up to millions and millions of dollars to just defend themselves.
Right. I think I was just texting with some people who would be covered by this. And as you know, Jake, there was a lot of discussion back and forth about this because members of the committee are covered by speech and debate technically. Witnesses, Capitol Hill Police, D.C. Police, members of the committee, everybody I spoke to who was involved with the January 6th committee hearings felt very strongly, they all said exactly the same words, we didn't do anything wrong, so we don't need a pardon. But, and this is the but, it's the extraordinary circumstances. It's the fact that President Biden felt that there would be this political retribution, political revenge that did not have any bearing in the facts, but that he was giving members, committee staffers, witnesses, sort of a blanket of protection to try to send a message more than anything else. These people should not, nobody should go after these people.
John King, I want to ask you about these pardons.
That's wild. So he just did it to send a message. Don't go after these people. What is this, the mafia? I don't understand. This is so crazy. And then on top of that, the other lady, she was saying how Trump said that he's made it very clear he's going for revenge. He's made it so clear that he's not going for revenge. Like time and time again, are you gonna have? He's like, no. Success is gonna be the revenge. I'm not gonna ask anybody. He even said on Meet the Press, I'm not gonna ask anybody I'm not gonna ask Pam or Kash Patel to go after anybody. They'll do what they think is best. I'm not going to push them to go after specific people. He made that very, very clear. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's a wild thing for them to even suggest. But here's the best thing. Here's the best thing CNN had to say about this whole thing in regards to prosecuting these people and Fauci. Let me slow that down already. It's already slowed down. Come on. I'm getting better.
Listen, the American people elected Donald Trump to deal with the border, to deal with the cost of living, to deal with, restoring American leadership abroad, not to be going after Tony Fauci and prosecuting four-star generals. And as much as some of his base may have liked that, most of the country would hate that sideshow. And this kind of allows him to focus on the things that he's good at, that he was elected to do, not get distracted with what would end up being something that I think kind of feeds to his worst instincts. That said, I think he's going to be mad about this. I think it is going to be an awkward car ride over, and I could see it changing some of the remarks that he gives later today. He's going to be speaking twice. I'm almost certain he'll end up addressing this in some form.
Let's go back to
living to deal with, restoring American leadership.
Participated in an insurrection that he supported. That will be a first.
Here, I just want you guys to hear just the very top of what she had to say there.
It surprised me, but I actually think Joe Biden might have done Donald Trump quite a favor with it.
Done him a favor. Oh, I love CNN. CNN's the best. That stands for the Coach News Network. You know that, right? This is my company. But just ridiculous. The fact that they're saying, let me be clear. So many of us wanted him to do exactly that. And not in a revengeful way. I've made this clear. In a justice type of way. If they did something wrong, they should, like Biden said, no one's above the law. They showed that with Trump, right? No one's above the law. That's what everybody was hoping for, actually. It's not just his base. If all of America found out that all these people who have been pardoned actually did something wrong, no one would have a problem with them actually being subject to the law. No one at all. So, again, the mental gymnastics they're doing, I just wanted to bring you both sides there. Fox is just kind of laying it out like this is what's happened. It's a little ridiculous. CNN is just like, well, Donald Trump, he wants revenge. And, Biden did him a favor actually by doing this, This is crazy. Let's jump over to X and just see all the reactions. Donald Trump Jr., I didn't think he'd have time to actually comment on this. I figured he'd be busy today, but he was not. He had the time. Says he doesn't have to accept the pardon. If he did nothing wrong, be a man and turn it down. But he won't, because everyone knows he's guilty of so much. Now, this comes in a response to somebody, Jonathan Carl here. He's saying that Fauci actually expressed the appreciation for the pardon, but he didn't do anything wrong. So here's Fauci's statement. I really, truly appreciate the action President Biden has taken today on my behalf. Let me be perfectly clear, John. I have committed no crime. You know that. And there's no possible grounds for any allegation or threat of criminal investigation or prosecution of me. Very easy to say once you have this pardon. Very, very easy to say once you've been pardoned. Let's move on. Also, Sean Ryan here. Sean Ryan said, Fauci, Milley, and the January 6th committee all pardoned last night in the midnight hours. What does that tell you? And also the timing of it. Just in the night, so nobody could actually, get mad about it. So it could just go through, just very secretive. This is something that JFK actually talked about in one of his last speeches. Just proceeding, secret meetings, secret societies, things of that nature, and secret proceedings. That's exactly what this was. Rand Paul, of course, he's very upset about this. If there was ever any doubt as to who bears responsibility for the pandemic, Biden's pardon of Fauci forever seals the deal. As chairman of the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee, I will not rest until the entire truth of this cover-up is exposed. Fauci's pardon will only serve as an accelerant to pierce the veil of deception. Anthony Fauci will go down in history as the first government scientist to be preemptively pardoned for a crime. It's really interesting. And I honestly, Trump being president or not, I wish presidents couldn't do this. Preemptively, I wish they could not do this. This is nuts that they could do this preemptively. Charlie Kirk had this to say. Joe Biden just preemptively pardoned Fauci, Liz Cheney, Adam Kingzinger or whatever, Mark Milley, and all of the staff of the J6 committee. I didn't know if it actually extended to Liz Cheney. I'm going to take Charlie Kirk's word on that. They know at noon everything changes. Yeah. Shock and awe time. High noon is almost here. And that's Charlie Kirk basically saying, this did happen, but everything is about to change as soon as Trump gets in. And that is the thing to focus on. I wanted to bring you guys this story, but at the same time, Trump is about to take office, and that's an incredible thing, a historic thing. So, rest easy knowing at least that's happening. Riley Gaines had to say Anthony Fauci was pardoned by Joe Biden because he's guilty of murder. That's it. That's the tweet. That's what a lot of people are feeling. Marjorie Taylor Greene says Biden pardons Mark Milley, Anthony Fauci, and the members of the J6 committee and the cops who testified before the committee because they're all guilty of crimes. Never forget what the Democrats did, or never forget what the Democrats have done. The mask, let me just show you guys that. The mask is completely off. And something that's very true. The fact that even the cops who testified, that's very interesting. There's two cops that testified. I forget what their names is. Big black guy and this like skinnier white guy with like tattoos and stuff. And they were present with Robert De Niro when Robert De Niro was on his whole thing in front of the courthouse when Trump was being tried. When Robert De Niro just went on that ridiculous rant before he was like never seen again. They were there, and those guys are very suspect. One of them's trying to run for office in the state that he's from. And the other one, both of them just kind of, listen, allegedly, all allegedly. But it seems like they lied. It seems like they lied in their testimonies, what they said. So it's very interesting. And then they're just right along with the whole Biden administration the whole time. I mean, they're going on little campaign runs. They're talking here and there. It was very, very interesting that they were pardoned as well. What did they do? These were just cops who were attacked, allegedly. Even they got pardoned. Someone actually said here, I'm indifferent to the Anthony Fauci pardon. You can't pardon for state crimes, and you can't pardon for crimes against humanity. Fauci is still well on the hook. I don't know if that's true. I really don't know if that's true, actually. So who knows? We'd have to wait and see for that. Biden released this lengthy statement. He was just basically talking about, he just basically goes through everybody. He talks about Mark Milley. He talks about how long he served and how great he is. More than half a century. He talks about Fauci and how great Fauci is. J6, he talks about the committee and what they did. And then he talks about believing in the rule of law. He's optimistic that the strength of our legal institutions will ultimately prevail over politics. That's not what your actions show whatsoever. But these are exceptional circumstances, and I cannot in good conscience do nothing. Baseless and politically motivated investigations wreak havoc on the lives, safety, and financial security of targeted individuals and their families. This is amazing. This is exactly what they did to Trump. He's explaining exactly what they did to Trump. He's like, we can't have that happen again. I mean, it was fine when it happened to Trump, but now, I'm not going to read this whole thing. It's reposted on my X, so you can see it there. Actually, you know what? Let's not just repost it like that. Let's undo that repost. You'll be able to find it under this repost. Worst president in U.S. history. There you go. Oh, sorry. Misspelled history there. Let me get that right. Got to get that right. Goodbye. You'll find it there. So you can read that whole thing if you want. Also, Dave Smith says Biden's legacy is pure corruption, 100%. And we're ending it off with another one from Donald Trump Jr. If you ever say, I believe in the rule of law, but then you don't actually believe in the rule of law. 100% agree. I'm going to be reposting all of that to my X right now, but that is what's happened. The pardons have been given. I can't wait. I showed you what Joe Rogan has thought about Fauci, but I cannot wait to hear what he has to say about this. I hope for all the people who listen to Joe Rogan that he actually goes on a long rant about this, that he brings it up on multiple episodes, because it's something that really has to be focused on, and it can't just die in the news cycle. Because right now, you think about this, they do these pardons hours before the inauguration. All that's going to be in the news cycle right now is Trump taking office. Day one, he says he's going to sign about 200 executive orders. That's all that people are going to be talking about for the next week, maybe even week and a half, and talking about what actually happens as he signs these pardons, what they're going to do to America and everything. CNN's going to go on their little smear campaigns of Donald Trump. MSNBC is going to do the same thing. Joy Reid's going to scream about why he's a Nazi. And we're all going to forget about these pardons. So I hope Joe brings it up so we do not forget about what Biden has done here today. Anyways, guys, I have to go to the washroom so bad. I'm out. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Peace.